Good evening, everybody. I'm excited to be here tonight, and we're going to be having Dr. Jospeh Allen here live, or AKA Dr. Eye Health. And as soon as he joins the video, I will add him in. But we're going to be talking about contacts. In particular, we're going to be talking about how to determine exactly what contact lens options are best for you. So let me add Joe in right now. Take a second just for him to connect on in. Hey, there he is.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me okay?
Just fine. This is cool.
Fantastic. Look, he's got the white coat on. He's hanging out the office. This is fantastic.
I literally just finished my last patient like 3 minutes ago.
Wow.
So,
just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time. Well, I love it. And you're all the way up in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, so I live in Maple Grove, Minnesota, but I practice here in Buffalo, which is about 35 minutes west of where I live. But
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Very nice. Well, we're gonna have.
And are you in North or South Carolina?
Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, very.
So Dr. Allen and I have never met. We've connected virtually, and one thing I love about Dr. Allen is, aka Dr. Eye Health. If you guys follow him on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and obviously Instagram. This guy's passionate about patient education. He's passionate about eye care. He's passionate about, providing his audience with clear, transparent information. If you guys know me well, I'm on the same boat. I love, love, love that information. So excited to talk to you guys tonight. We're going to chat about how to determine what contact lens options are best for you. Dr. Allen, if you want to just, say a couple words and we'll rock and roll.
Yeah, I absolutely love contact lenses. I first got contacts when I was 13 years old. I wore thick glasses, didn't have too many friends. I was kind of a nerdy kid. And I was nerdy. I had thick Coke bottle glasses, and I wanted to be in sports like football. And you can't really play football as a 13-year-old with thick glasses on. So my mother was an RGP contact lens wearer. She said, okay, we're getting you contacts. And I'm sure we've all seen patients who have trouble getting contacts in. I was one of those people at first. It took me like 2 hours in the clinic, sitting there trying to get them in my eye. My eyes are red, but I was determined even as a 13-year-old. So got contacts, and it changed my life. That's honestly one of the reasons why I even became an eye doctor was because I got contacts, and it was just. Suddenly I could be in football, I could be in wrestling. I started getting friends because of it, because I met other people. Actually what even more of an influence for me, because I had improved self-confidence. And then I'm 13, 14 years old. My life was purely video games and girls at the time. So
that sounds like the average 14-year-old, right?
Yeah. So with that level of self-confidence, girls started paying more attention to me, and so I was basically just like, I'm never wearing glasses again. That's kind of how it was. And of course, I still wear glasses. I usually wear blue light protection glasses over my contacts, but I usually do prefer to wear contacts most of the time. So
you actually just dove into even our first discussion topics, which is why even go to the eye doctor and be fit with contact lenses. And I think you nailed a couple of the key points on the head there. You want to be able to be comfortable with how you see, how you feel, how you look, right? So, freedom from glasses is a big thing for a lot of our patients. And a lot of our patients really enjoy being able to play sports and not have to worry, or go for a jog or go for a bike ride or a hike and not have to worry about having glasses on their face at that time. But they also, it boosts their self-confidence. Like you said, I was just the same way. I wore glasses growing up, and I ended up finally trying contacts, and the same kind of thing. I think my self-esteem skyrocketed, and it just made me more confident in who I was, confident playing sports. And there are some people who actually, they have a higher prescription, and so it really improves their field of view, so that the lens and the frame isn't in the way. It improves how they perceive the world. Things aren't minified or magnified. But there are just so many reasons. Any other reasons you can think of why people would want to come and see us to get fit with contacts?
There's originally, it's always kind of like people, they either just want the freedom from glasses, which is the biggest one. Certainly just that feel, the occasional use, if they're going to take a lot of photos, a lot of people will come in because, hey, I'm getting married, or, my daughter's having a wedding.
Great point.
And they just want to be able to take photos without their glasses on.
Great point.
they'll come in even just to have contact lenses for a short period of time. And then, of course, we have more than just soft contact lenses, which is kind of the norm that most people fit soft contact lenses now. But there's people who need specialty contact lenses for medical reasons. So it's pretty cool that we have the technology nowadays to be able to help people out this way.
It's funny you mention it too. One of my best friends growing up, Justin Cameron, I was in his wedding, best man. He never wore contacts, or he barely wore them. I put them in like maybe 30 minutes before the ceremony, and we had to really pull his eyes open. He was really spazzing, but we did a couple test runs before, and it was like day of jitters, and we got him in. It all worked out very nicely. His wife now was very thankful for the photos. I completely hear where you're coming from there. So very cool. Well,
and I know there's people. And I was going to say, there's, of course, people who like glasses. I know John just mentioned that he loves taking photos with his glasses on. Yeah. I know the only thing I've been recently having more trouble with, making more videos, is getting lighting position for the video, because lighting is so important with video.
Yeah.
And getting the reflection not to be on the glasses. That's sometimes kind of frustrating. So another reason why I find contacts a little bit easier for me.
And thanks for pointing that out, by the way. If you guys have anything that you want to know about contact lenses and you're just a consumer looking into getting fit or wearing them, feel free to ask in the comments below. And if you're an eye care professional and you want to provide more insight, because us eye doctors have a lot of knowledge and insight on contacts, chime in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So why even be fit by an eye doctor, though? Hey, Dr. Daryl Glover, how you doing, my man? Good to see you. I love seeing Daryl rave on it. He's a good friend of both of ours over at D-Focus. But yeah, why even be fit by us, right? I mean, in some countries of the world, contact lenses are just available over the counter. So why in the United States do we fit them as eye care professionals? What's that? Why is that so important to us?
Well, of course, I think, with being and going through school, you learn so much about the health of the eye, the physiology of the eye, and part of that is the risks that are associated with putting a medical device in the eye. Here in the United States, contact lenses are either classified as a type 2 or a type 3 medical device by the Food and Drug Administration. And it's because they have a high risk of damage to the eye if not fitting properly, and if overworn, overused, if they're not used properly, people, unfortunately, it's not ridiculously too often with new technology, but people, I know we've all seen it, people get bad infections, scarring on the eye, complications do happen. So being fit by a trained professional who knows the device, who knows the material, the technology, that's really kind of the guarantee. It can't be a guarantee, but it helps reduce the chances of those problems developing.
And great point. We got a question here, so we'll grab that real quick, and then we'll jump back to that topic. So Maggie K asks, pre-op student here, how are the transition contacts perceived by patients? I know that everyone in the field is excited, but do patients ask for them, or is it better used for cosmetics? I'll go ahead and provide my insight on that. I think that there's some fantastic marketing going on right now. That's why patients are coming in and talking about the lens. It is new technology. I think it was with Transitions, and AccuView actually won a Time Innovation Award for 2018, which was pretty cool. And in eye care, we love innovation and technology. And one of the beauties behind this lens is it adapts to the light that you enter. So you walk outdoors and you're in the sunlight, and it goes ahead and it transitions and it keeps your eye protected. But it doesn't fully protect the eye, right? We still got to wear sunglasses over top, but it helps with light sensitivity. It helps with visual performance. And I can tell you, I've had some patients who are extra light sensitive, or maybe they're playing sports outdoors, and they've came in and asked about it. And I've also kind of recommended it to those patients as well. But it is a case-by-case basis. So, is everybody coming in and say, hey, I got to get these lenses? I can honestly say no, because it does fit a certain niche, in my opinion. How about you, Dr. Allen?
Yeah, I've probably had 2 or 3 people specifically come in because they heard about them. Otherwise, it's something that I bring up to my patients who I can tell in the office that they're light sensitive. They're kind of avoiding any light source that I'm shining on them.
Yeah.
And of course, the person has to be a good candidate, 1, for contacts, 2, for a spherical contact. And then there's all sort of things that we have to keep in mind. But there's, of the people that have tried them, I think I've only had 1 person who didn't end up ordering them.
Okay.
Most of the people that I do either give them trials, they're thinking I think most of the people I've given trials, people have always purchased them, but they usually buy them in smaller increments. They're usually not buying a full year supply. They're saying, "Oh, I'll just get 3 months,
Sure.
and I'll use it for the summer when I'm playing soccer." So it may not be just that brand, but people may buy it as a kind of an adjunct to use occasionally.
Great point. Honestly, we're looking at, what is it, June 13th. These lenses have been out just over 2 months. So I still think that there is more to uncover with them, more feedback to get from patients. And I think that over time we'll have a little bit better pulse on the situation. But fantastic question. Thank you so much for asking that. And kind of circling back, though, to what we were talking about the importance of getting fit by an eye care professional. I had a patient come back recently from the beach. He was over in Wilmington. He was on vacation with his family. He works actually as a private detective, and he does private security for people that come to Charlotte, like really high profile people that need security. He ended up actually having a terrible eye infection because he swam in his contacts, right? And something got
I think I know where
underneath.
this one's going.
Yeah, he kept wearing it. Long story short, it took us a long time to treat and manage the eye disease that he had going on. It was not a good situation. And he even told me, he's like, honestly, I didn't know I shouldn't have slept in my swam in my contacts. And that's one of the things, we go over all the risk factors with our patients. We make sure that there's good, it's a good fit to the eye, good centration to the eye, good movement to the eye, that the vision is meeting the criteria that you need to do the activities you need to drive, to live your life. And then we go over how to properly care for them. And,
Yeah, I know with my examinations, with everybody who wears contacts, even if they're not being fit for a contact lens that day, just the fact that I know they wear contact lenses, I always try to report like, hey, if there's ever a problem, if your eyes are getting red, they're painful, something doesn't seem right, you take them out immediately. And if it's not getting better, you got to give us a call. Because again, I don't want them to have that sort of experience.
I have the exact same discussion with my patients. And especially some of them are approved, FDA approved to be, to fall asleep in up to, 6 nights in a row or 30 nights in a row. And I always advocate to my patients, hey, don't really sleep in them for that long.
Yeah.
I know they're approved, doesn't mean you should. But if you're going to do that, make sure you reach out to me if you ever have issues. But I don't tell them to. I just, a lot of them know. They find out. They hear from their friends, oh, you can sleep in some contacts. Speaking of that, though, I think the next thing on our topic is really talking about the 3 different types of soft contact lenses from a replacement schedule. A daily replacement and throwaway, a 2-week a daily replacement but 2-week modality, and a daily replacement but monthly modality. And I guess I'll throw it to you. What's your favorite replacement schedule? What do you think about those 3 replacement schedules? Do you love all 3? Do you fit all 3?
I fit all 3. I try to be an advocate for daily lenses. The chance of having an infection, because you're not. It's not just the infection part of it, but when you're replacing your lenses every day, when we see the eye with a contact lens on the eye and you're wearing a 2-week or a monthly lens, even though you disinfect it at night, it still develops kind of a biofilm or these deposits that build up on the lenses. And that is one of the reasons why these lenses aren't as comfortable toward the end of their, 3 weeks into the 4-week cycle of a monthly lens, or even after about almost the end of your 2-week lens, they start to get this little buildup on them. And not only does that increase your chance of infection, but also your chances of discomfort and dryness, irritation. And so I'm always an advocate for daily lenses when available. For most people's prescriptions, daily lenses are available. So I am an advocate for that. And now, with new technology and new brands that are coming out, I find there's actually some that are still very affordable.
Sure.
Especially keeping in mind, because I think that's the biggest barrier that we see overall is price.
And we have to be we have to be transparent with our patients and let them know what the prices look like based on the bang for their buck. And the nice thing is too is if let's just say that the daily lenses aren't within their budget, there's some really great 2-week and monthly replacement contact lenses as well. And I don't know about you. You mentioned kind of build up over time. Do you recommend different types of solutions for those patients? Are you more of an advocate of clear care, or do you jump onto some of the the OptiFree, BioTrue, and Revitalens side of things and make sure that they rub them, or do you do a little bit of combination of both, or it just depends on the situation?
So I actually had a video out a couple months ago about kind of different solutions that are available. Now, I've actually read a lot of different studies trying to figure out is there one that's better than the rest, and ultimately, all the solutions have to pass a standardized disinfection regimen in order to be on the market. So at least
Really?
in terms of its disinfecting ability, they're all fairly close to each other. Some have advantages of things like acanthamoeba, like Clear Care, even I forgot the one by Johnson and Johnson again. What's that one called?
Revitalens.
Vitalens, thank you.
Yeah.
So Vitalens also has a bit higher killing rate of acanthamoeba. The in terms of comfort, though, which is always one of the biggest things. It's very subjective. Some people love BioTrue, some people seem to love OptiFree. If somebody is having more allergies, especially suspected allergies to the solutions, if they have a subtle low-grade GPC developing, I'm always like, hey, we should switch to a daily lens. If you can't, let's switch over to Clear Care and see how that works.
Yes.
That's how I usually go about it. How about yourself?
I completely agree with you. I actually, we have different trial options for solution in the office. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll talk to them about, how they plan on wearing the lens. And, like I said, 2 week and monthly replacement. We just want to make sure that they're comfortable. And I totally agree that certain solutions may work better for certain patients and also with certain lenses, just based on the design of the lens and the material. And real quick here, Dr. Daryl Glover mentioned there are great resources for dailies with rebates or subscription services, and you can also utilize the service care credit, which is a great way to really pay for your contact lenses and your services or your glasses, up front, and then utilize a payment plan and schedule there. So thanks for sharing that, Dr. Glover. Um, yeah, I got to be honest though, I think I fit a little bit of all three as well. And it really truly depends on my conversation with the patient. If they tell me, hey doc, I'm going to sleep in the lenses, I go away from the daily, especially if they aren't going to take them out at night. And I want them to be in something that I know that if, they're going to fall asleep in them at the end of the night, even though I don't advocate for it, that they're in something that is FDA approved for that. But it truly does depend on the person. And it also comes down to two, I think the next thing kind of on our discussion list is, what about astigmatism contacts, multifocal contacts? We have multifocal for astigmatism contacts coming out, a brand new one
Hmm.
at the end of the month here. We got some exciting stuff on the forefront in contact lenses. Like you said, technology has continued to advance over time. How about, with astigmatism contacts though in general? What kind of success have you had with those as well? We'll start with that, astigmatism contacts.
Yeah, I have some astigmatism. I usually wear spherically. Oh, are you still there? Are you still there? I lost the
I'm here.
connection.
Yeah, I'm here. I think for a second, I think we lost connection for a hot second. Yeah. Are we back?
That's cool. Yep, I'm good. But yeah, I was just saying, I wore toric bioaffinity astigmatism toric lenses for about 10 years, all the way through high school and most of college. And I've always done very well with those myself in terms of comfort and vision. And I still find very good success with my patients fitting those lenses in terms of a monthly lens. In terms of something like a daily lens, I do well with the Bausch and Lomb products. Their BioTrue astigmatism lens that they have, as well as, let's see, what other ones? Acuvue Oasis Toric, still the astigmatism lens still works great as a 2 week modality as well. And I'm excited because now the Aqua Comfort Plus daily lens not only has a great astigmatism lens, but now they offer it full 360 degrees all around. So a lot of people who maybe aren't in the eye care world maybe don't know this, but not every brand of contact lens comes in every available power and
Yep.
astigmatism correction. So when it comes to being a provider, we have to be familiar with these different lenses and understand kind of where your prescription is and what's going to work and how to adjust for it accordingly. But how about yourself?
All
What
great
kind of
points.
lenses do you use? What kind of lenses do you
You know,
use?
I have to disclose, I do speak for Bausch and Lomb. I do love their products. I really do love Ultra for astigmatism for a monthly lens.
Mhm.
I do fit Biofinity Toric as well. a decent amount, and then also some Acuvue Oasis for astigmatism. When it comes to the daily side, I'm with you. BioTrue 1-Day for astigmatism is fantastic if you're looking for a hydrogel, and if you have to bump up to Acuvue Oasis for astigmatism, 1-Day for astigmatism is great also. But that, some really great astigmatism lens options out there. They're really technologically advanced and designed to, move with your blink and stabilize well. And also the comfort level, the edge profile, and the actual vision through these lenses nowadays. I mean, people are seeing fantastic and having awesome results. And the same thing too, I think there are a lot of people out there that have tried multifocal contacts in the past, and maybe they didn't have the success that we're seeing now. There are some awesome contact lenses available that have great multifocal designs that allow our patients to see great, in front of themselves at a screen, across the room, and really live their life to the fullest so that they have the ability to truly embrace, their vision without progressive glasses on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, there's still people whose expectations with multifocal lenses, people, it depends on, of course, the prescription.
Yes.
Their pupil size makes a big role.
Yeah.
So I think there's still a lot more. In terms of our responsibility as professionals, as fitting these lenses, understanding and educating patients what to expect with it. I love it though, because there's a lot of people. Those are some of the people that get my patients who are fit into multifocal lenses, and they're just so happy. They're so free. They just love being, not having to wear the readers all the time or get away from progressive bifocals or something like that. That freedom, even just today, I mean, I fit like 3 different people in, I think, the daily total 1 multifocal. And one guy he's a big golfer. He was a super psyched because it's like, I don't need to deal with my glasses while I'm golfing, and you can see in the distance and you can see what's going on up close. Those little moments, it keeps me excited and makes me very happy that I'm able to impact someone's life, and they feel that freedom, right? So that's really cool.
I couldn't agree with you more. Those patients, they're some of the most gratifying contact lens fits that I have in a soft contact, because maybe they've been told before, hey, you're going to have to wear readers, or you're going to have to wear just glasses now, or you're going to have to do the monovision, which is one eye fit to see up close and one eye fit to see in the distance, and then they lose their depth perception and they don't have as much success, on a daily basis with driving at night or doing work on the computer. So I completely agree. Dailies Total One multifocal, fantastic. Ultra for presbyopia, I've had a lot of success with. BioTrue for presbyopia, and I do fit some Biofinity multifocal as well. So just depending on the patient, what their visual demands are. And then, like we mentioned, there is a contact lens coming out this month for multifocal for astigmatism. That's the Bausch & Lomb Ultra multifocal for astigmatism. And this is something that we really don't have a great option available for us in office now that works.
We have one other option, right? Yeah, and then that works.
And that's the thing too. I haven't.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can tell you a lot of my colleagues, and you may be able to echo this as well. Just not the success that we've been looking for with this lens. So, eye doctors across the country are super excited about this. I can tell you, I'm going to have the fit set, I think, sometime next week. I've been informed. I can't wait to kind of report back and just share with everybody, my experience with it, and have the opportunity to see, how people are going to be able to really improve their quality of life. And because having presbyopia, the inability to see clearly up close over the age of 40 due to loss of ability to focus your eye, and astigmatism to a certain degree, has inhibited a lot of people from being able to be fit with multifocals. And now that we have that opportunity presented to us, we can satisfy a whole new category of individuals with contact lenses that we may not have been able to do so in soft contact lenses successfully.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was just monovision, and a lot of people can adapt to monovision, but I've even tried it myself, and it's just not ideal for a lot of situations. So, especially if you're just used to having good binocular vision, it can throw you off.
And it takes some time for your brain to really neuroadapt. And I mean, you can fit them also in RGP, the hard contact lenses, or a hybrid fit. But a lot of people don't like to go down that route. They want to stick with their soft contacts they've been comfortable wearing for a long period of time. So what about where to purchase contacts? What are your thought process? You work in a private practice. Tell me a little bit about just, the misconceptions that may be out there, and, the benefits of maybe buying from your provider versus buying from a third party.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is that I really should do a video on this. Is
We're doing one right
contact
now.
lenses.
I hear
Yeah,
you. No, I'm just messing with you.
a dedicated YouTube video to it.
I
But
know.
um, the price for contact lenses, especially people, because I think the biggest barrier that we have as doctors is that patients maybe feel guilty, but we know that people buy contacts online. And there's nothing wrong with doing that if it's a convenience factor. But a lot of people buy online because they feel it's cheaper. They feel that they can save more money. When reality is, if you know the system, if you actually know the system, you can actually oftentimes get your contact lenses more affordable from the eye clinic, from your eye doctor, or your optical. You just have to know, one, know if you have a vision insurance. You have to kind of know how much you have coverage, and then you have to understand that these companies, they give manufacturer rebates to your clinic, or your optical, your eye doctor, and when you engage those rebates, especially when you're buying like a year supply, it's like buying in bulk from Costco. The price gets dropped way down. And if you actually write down and compare the pricing options, you'll end up saving more money. And there's a lot of other cool things. Like I don't speak for Bausch and Lomb, but then Bausch and Lomb, they have like a point system. I don't know how much people actually utilize that, but they give you, like, if you sign up for it and say, hey, I bought a year supply of your contacts, they give you, how many points, and over time you can get free stuff from that. So
It's like credit card
there's
points, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
there's some kind of cool ways that you can actually save more money that way. So that's, I think, is one of the biggest barriers. But I know a lot of people, like at our clinic, if they want to pick up their contacts here, oftentimes we'll either have the lenses available that day. They can just walk out the door with them once they're finalized, their full year supply. They have the option that if we need to order lenses, they can have it picked up here at the clinic, or we can just have it mailed out to their house. So it's pretty simple. But
Not to mention, I
how
think
about you
I
for
think I think the troubleshooting support by buying from the provider is also really nice. I know a lot of providers have the policy of
really good point?
trading in, in boxes, or if something doesn't work, they have a warranty behind those things, and it really just comes down to supporting where you went ahead and got the fit, and really the professional nature of that professional that you're working with, and they're able to troubleshoot for you, and they're able to provide you with not only care with your contacts, but any other products or services that you may need. Keeping it all in house does truly help out that relationship. And these patients, I completely agree. I have patients that will buy, at the clinic, online, wherever it may be. And I think a lot of it comes down to marketing. I think sometimes these online vendors will market hard, and really try to push people to renew their prescriptions, or to do whatever they may need to do to make that sale. And at the end of the day, sales are sales. And I think that that's where some of that misconception comes from. There are also some things out there, like Boxy is one of those companies that eye doctors can work with. AccuView has a program where you can actually do subscription style ordering through the provider nowadays, which I think is pretty common in Europe. I've been talking to some people in Europe that's kind of the go-to there. And I think there may be a shift where people are starting to pay more subscription model for their year supply through their eye care professional, which is pretty cool. And speaking of subscription model, we did kind of note on here that there are some contact lens companies online, like Hubble and Waldo and Sight Supply, and there's a couple others out there. But at the end of the day, they are subscription contact lens companies. What is your experience with those? What have you heard from patients? Have you done any research on those? What should people be looking
Yeah.
out for when they opt into those services?
One of the biggest issues, not only a lot of these companies, these type of lenses are basically old technology. The reason that they're able to make them cheaply and sell them cheaply is because they basically buy a patent that is outdated, oftentimes from like the 1960s, and they're just rebranding them and putting them in fancy packaging and then selling them for cheap. And what they kind of do is this marketing tactic of like, hey, get our contacts for only like shipping and handling. You get a free month supply or a free 2 week supply of them, whatever. These companies, they kind of are notorious, at least in the eye care community, for not actually verifying prescriptions. Or when they do actually verify prescriptions, because at least in the US, they have to legally verify the prescription, or at least attempt. And the attempt, when they occasionally do, the ones that we've gotten, they're inaudible. When you listen to the voicemail, it's just a robocall, a machine, and it's something that you cannot understand or interpret. And so how can we verify if somebody's prescription is accurate or not? You can't.
You
So we
can't.
can't even. So beyond that, the biggest user kind of feedback I've ever had is that, yes, I've had people come in and say, you know what, I feel bad, but I purchased these contacts online, and they gave me some trials. Most people will say that they're not that comfortable, but I imagine some people they are. Um, but the issue that they had is that they didn't renew their prescription. And they still got charged afterward. So some of these companies, and I don't know who, but it sounds like they kind of have some shady business practices where they're basically trying to give you free lenses so you can put your credit card information in. And then even if you're like, I don't want any more lenses, they still charge you. And so
Yeah.
they can get away with that. And have you heard something similar?
So I actually ordered all 4 of those contacts. I think I mentioned 3 out of the 4, but I ordered Aveo is the other one. I've ordered all
Okay.
4 of them with a prescription and put my I put my office information to get it verified. 3 out of the 4 didn't, at least to my knowledge, based on talking to my staff, checking voicemails, emails, things like that. Um, and yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm all about clear, transparent information and people running things the right way. And I completely agree. There was some shady business practices. The remarketing, I mean, they come in beautiful boxes. They look very pretty. They're marketed on social media very nicely. Everybody likes something that's free. And I think that's one of their draw-ins is, hey, give me something free. But the reality is this is a class 2 or 3 medical device, right? So definitely a gray area there that I think that they're trying to expose. And, I would say this to anybody who's considering those kind of services. At the end of the day, products through that kind of medium, talk to your eye care professional about your options. What you're looking at is not always the cheapest option, but the best option, the most comfortable option, the option that will give you the clearest vision. And people even know that when they come into our office. I would say 99 out of 100 people, if they come to my office that have tried that option out, will tell me I'm probably not going to go back. So. It is very interesting though, because their marketing they push things very hard on social media. So, and I don't think that that's going
They're
to stop.
eye-catching, right? I get them a lot. I know they're eye-catching, but I think I even tried pricing it out once, and I'm like, these are supposed to be like the cheap lenses. Like if
They're
you actually buy
not.
like a year supply,
They're
they're
not.
not. You're
Yeah.
choosing to pay more for a lesser quality product just because they gave you a couple of free lenses. Um, and yeah,
It's
it's
deceptive
unfortunate
marketing at
because
its finest, unfortunately.
yeah,
And an entrepreneur here put the reason people go to Hubble, et cetera, is young folks don't like traditional dinosaur healthcare models. Sure, I
yeah.
understand that. I use Harry's razors. I use some subscription services out there that I truly do appreciate. But I think that if they're able to find a way, right, down the road, some of the big 4 contact lens companies, they're able to find a way to utilize the doctor and have a good subscription medium. Sure, I think that eye care professionals will embrace it. Patients will have good service and interaction with their doctor. And I think that there's some pretty cool stuff that could be down the pipeline. But these companies that are trying to
I
disrupt are really doing some disservices for their customers.
And unfortunately, these lenses, especially people who are not being fit by a professional, again, they're at higher risk of infection and other future complications. So we're going to see that in the clinic. And again, you may think, okay, if I break an arm or something like that, you can get that repaired fairly easily. Or worst case scenario, you lose an arm, you can actually get a prosthetic arm. Your eyes, we do not have a replacement for at this time. Like you said, that kind of sad story of your patient who had an infection from swimming in his lenses.
Yeah.
I have a friend who he did the same thing. He went swimming in his lenses, slept on them afterward. He did end up having to get a full corneal transplant, which didn't take very well. So he had to go through the amniotic membrane process. And so now, yeah, he's on 3 years into his transplant, and at some point he'll eventually, transplants only last, on average 15 years, so he'll eventually need another, and it's a tough life once you have to have that done. So
Well put. And honestly, I think that that's a good kind of segue into just wrapping things up. We've hit about the 30-minute mark. Um, we probably can touch down the road on future topics. So if people have any insight, any questions, they can definitely reach us both via Instagram. We're all over social media. And I can tell you, Dr. Allen, I appreciate you just taking the time to connect and just have a discussion. Any final thoughts you want to leave people with on, and I guess we pretty much talked about soft contact lenses today. We could talk about other options down the road, whether it's hard or other conditions or whatever it may be. But any final thoughts on soft contact lenses, the process, the why, the expertise that you have for anybody watching and people that will watch this on repeat?
Yeah, so I think for anybody who's not an eye care professional, when you see your doctor and they're looking at your eyes for how the contact lenses fit, the big things that we're looking for are, the size of the lens, that the size of the lens covers the part of the eye that needs to be covered. That's the cornea. We have to make sure that the lenses fit the right curvature to your eye, because if they fit too tightly on the eye, they're going to pinch on the eye, and actually it impedes basically your tears from flowing behind the lenses. If there's no tear exchange behind the lens, the amount of oxygen getting to your eye actually goes down. And because your cornea actually breathes, if it doesn't have the amount of oxygen, it starts to swell and it actually taxes the metabolism of the cornea. And so it actually causes a lot of complications and problems. And so it can't fit too tight. And if it's too loose, if it's too flat of a lens, it's going to move around on the eye. And that can cause, well, I know with RGPs, it can cause scarring on the eye. Otherwise, it causes a lot of discomfort and variable vision because you maybe not be looking through the right part of the lens if it's moving around.
Yeah.
Those are just some of the basic things that we're evaluating on the eye when we're seeing somebody for a contact lens evaluation. It's not just vision. It's not just, oh, I see just fine. It's like, no, we have to make sure it's safe for the eye, that it's sitting correctly, and that it's performing well. Any other final thoughts that you have?
I couldn't agree more. I think that the way you broke that down in simple to easy understand terms was fantastic. And at the end of the day, trust in your eye doctor, your eye care professional. Come with questions in mind about, how these lenses can, benefit you on a daily basis. Talk to them about what you do on a day-to-day basis, your work, your hobbies, things that you have experienced with contact lenses in the past or fears you may have in being fit with them. Because we fit patients all day long on these lenses and we see all sorts of scenarios, all sorts of outcomes. And, everybody is different in this world, and we will find a custom option for you or custom couple options and make sure that you will be successful in contacts. And that's really how I feel about it. I love fitting them. I think that they're a great part of our profession. And I truly feel like it's one of the things that we can have an instantaneous impact on people's lives, like we mentioned earlier. So with that being said, Dr. Eye Health, Dr. Jospeh Allen, thanks for hanging out with me today. You guys can definitely, anybody who's watching can follow us on social media, reach out to us on Instagram, and we're happy to connect. But I think this is it for tonight, and have a good evening and safe travels back. You're still at the clinic.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Take care.
Yep.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you guys. Yeah. Bye.